Okay, so I wanted to share my experience. Um, I'm a little nervous, I guess, because I didn't think I was going to be doing this so quickly. Like, I pictured myself doing this, but I can't believe I'm already doing this. I was actually waiting until basically I had more time and space to practice because I've been hearing all the interviews and testimonies. So, like, I know that it just takes it takes some time, right? Like to practice. So I was actually waiting, and in the meantime I was like, I'm gonna watch everything I can, everything that is out there, just to keep informing myself and preparing myself. So yeah, I guess I'll start by saying I have never had sleep paralysis. I know a lot of people had that when they were little, like, and so I was kind of bummed about that I was, because I kept hearing like people that don't, it tends to take longer and it's more difficult for them, and I was like already like absorbing that belief just by hearing people's experiences. So I think this is the most important thing why I wanted to share my experience, because I guess that's not the case. I guess I'll start with like about 3 months ago, I did start watching NDEs. A friend of mine shared one video on YouTube, and I was like hooked. I started binging on NDEs. I could not stop. I was like, how have I not like looked for this before? I was just so surprised. I've been deep into the afterlife. I am also a hypnosis guide. I'm interested in life between lives. Like, as a little kid, I was very, very spiritual. I've been spiritual all my life. But I studied energy work, like, so it's not like this is not too out there for me. But when I heard, like, when I saw the interview, which I watched Darius' interview with Anthony Shen production. That's one of the channels that I was watching the NDEs, and like all of a sudden he was there, and I was like, oh my God. I got so excited because watching the NDEs, my feeling was like, I really want to have one of these experiences, but I don't want to die in order to have one of them. So it was, I was so excited. I'm so excited. Like, I was excited then, like 3 weeks ago, and now I'm still like very excited. I was like, this is it. I truly felt like Neo meeting Morpheus, right? Like, I was like, this is real. This is happening. Like, I'm gonna do this. Like, anyways, um, yeah, I guess at first I wanted to share like the kind of experiences that I've had, because I see everybody sharing that, so I wanted to start there. Um, One experience that I had, which was to me was a little bit close to an NDE, not like I did not die or anything close to that. I was going through a really rough time. This was about 12 years ago. No, 14 years ago. 14 years ago, I was going through a really rough time, and really in my head about things and feeling a lot of shame. The experience I had 14 years ago was going through a really rough time, very much in my head. And I was walking in the street going to work in Boulder, Colorado, where I used to live. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I had this, what I call is almost like a lightning strike of like love. So all of a sudden, like, I was like flooded with this energy, and I had to look up. Like, I was in the street, I looked like a crazy person. It was daytime, right? It was like morning, daytime. Just looked up like that, and it kind of like I had to stay like that for a minute. And like I had this flood of energy, and it felt very much like unconditional love. Um, just talking about that made me warm. And so I received the mantra, um, only the love. And telepathically, the message was like, there is only love. Which, as I watched all the NDs, I was like, oh my God, like, this is so like, it feels so similar, which is why I'm sharing it now. Like I started sharing this experience recently, like more and more. Like I have a tattoo about it, like that I got like 10 years ago. It says only the love. Um, because it was really important for me, and it did change my life, because the message I received was also start meditating, because I was shown this book that I had at home about meditation that I had never touched. So it was kind of like, okay, I guess I'm gonna grab the book. And yeah, that experience was very, very intense and obvious. It wasn't just like, oh, did I imagine that? Like I did not imagine that. It was very real, very out of the blue, in a situation where like I wasn't really expecting it, right? It just struck me. But now I'm like, I know that was, I was being contacted, and I think it was my guides. That was, they just wanted to shake me up, you know, because I was so in my head, like so deep in thought and shame and regret and fear, that it just got me out of it. And truly, like after that, I started meditating, I started doing yoga, like I had just quit smoking cigarettes. And it just led me to, you know, it was the beginning of my healing journey that lasted, still, I'm still on it. So yeah. Anyways, so that was one experience. And then some months ago, I want to say it was like 6, maybe 5 months ago, I've been wanting to lucid dream forever. Like I have lucid dreamed before. It's just my experiences have been very, very short, and which is part of one of my beliefs, or like worries that I had about. I was really worried about not being able to do this, having the OBE. I was almost convinced like it's gonna take me forever. Like, and part of it was because during the lucid dreaming was very short for me, and I always get too excited. I'm a very emotional person. I'm highly sensitive, and so I would always get excited. And I had moments where like I was able to stay like looking at my hands, and you know, because I've read books about it. But even doing that, it was just really hard. So I was like, oh man, I'm hearing all these experiences of people having really short experiences. Yeah, so like anyways, so going back to a few months ago, 5 months ago, let's say 5 months, I was trying to make it happen, to have a lucid dream. And I wanted, literally, like my intention was to get in touch with my guides. I had been intentioning that for months before it happened, right? Like it didn't happen right away. But one night I did have a very lucid dream where I was in my friend's house, which they live next door, so like it's literally next door. So I was there, but it looked like a different house, and I was laying in the ground, like in fetal position. I don't know why. And I started receiving a healing, and I know that it was an angel because I knew. And I knew that I had to keep my eyes closed. The room was very, very dark, and all of a sudden I felt this presence, right? That felt very intense, and I had to close my eyes because I knew that the brightness of it all was gonna like pop me, like make me wake up. And so I had to keep my eyes closed the whole time, and it felt like a blanket was over like my entire body. And like, but it's because I was like this, it was like covering me in this like amazing fuzzy feeling of like, again, like unconditional love. I've just felt so loved and cared and protected, and it was amazing. It was truly amazing. It was also very short, and the whole time I had to just be very like conscious, like don't open your eyes, don't get too excited, this is happening, you're receiving a healing right now. Like it's just, and it felt like I was very connected to that being. So okay, that was a few months ago. And then okay, so 3 months ago started watching NDEs. 3 weeks ago I found Darius, so I was like, oh my god, I can actually make this happen. I can have my own NDE without having to die. And so I watched all of the videos that you can imagine. I mean, I haven't watched them all because there's just so much out there. I'm just really surprised I haven't found him earlier, honestly. It just blows my mind. I guess I wasn't ready. Okay, so getting closer to the sharing the experience, I guess. I just find it interesting because I've watched a lot of testimonials, and I guess what's happening in real life, I think I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this, but I think it's gonna have a so above, so below, right? So like whatever is happening in real life is also happening there. And what I find really interesting is that the fact that happened like this morning, or like, you know, in the coming from yesterday, is really surprising to me, because yesterday basically I had one of the most stressful days of the year, and it's mid-October, right? And I moved to another country in the middle. Like I've had, yeah, I've had opportunities, and like yesterday was a very, very stressful day. Had an issue with a client. Before going to bed, like I did a quick tarot reading of like the energies, and just to understand myself, like this issue, and like what's in there for me to learn. And one of the things that came up was, which is pertinent to the OBE, which is why I'm sharing, was that I was really proud of myself yesterday, because I was stressed most of the day because it was a lot of back and forth emails with this client, and I was incredibly triggered, right? Because yeah, I was very, very triggered. He was triggering like very young parts of me. And me in the past, I would have replied like very emotional, very like just burn the bridge, give the guy the reason to just not pay me, which is what he's trying to do. And so I just stayed very calm while having a lot of chaos inside. It was just like this dual, like I was able to hold myself during that, and I was like, I'm really proud of myself for doing that. Like, wow. I think that's important to mention, because like I went to bed like the 2 nights previous to tonight, I kind of tried, and I was like, no, okay, this is important to mention as well. Like I'm very afraid of the sleep paralysis part. I was very worried about that. Like, oh, like is it gonna suck? Like, I don't know. And I was afraid that I was gonna be in that situation and not being able to stay calm, right? Which is similar to the day of yesterday. But that part, you know, this part that had so much fear and like so many beliefs, I feel like it's important to mention, because that's not at all like my experience had nothing to do with those fears. Like they're gone. Well, I don't know if they're gone fully, but like at least the one where like it takes me forever, like that's gone because I already had it. So yeah, I feel like that's important to mention. So my intention was to go to my own paradise, which I've heard some people went there, and all the NDEs, not all of them, but like a lot of them happened there. And I kind of know this place already, because when I do hypnosis, like we use the safe space a lot, and that's the place I've been creating basically with sessions that I've had, and just doing my own work. So I really wanted to go there and experience it with my body, right? Like in a more like vivid way. Hypnosis is pretty vivid, but not fully, I guess. Not like this. So so that was my intention. And I also did a quick research with ChatGPT, just to see what other ways that are not going through sleep paralysis exist in order to have an OBE. And one of the ways that stood out to me was when you are in a lucid dream, you have the intention, blah, blah, blah. You make the intention of having an OBE, and then you have to just go, like, let yourself fall backwards. And apparently that was one way, right? So like I had read that. And so, okay, so last night I go to bed. I don't even have the intention of having an OBE like all the other nights, like the past 2 nights. And so last night I didn't even do that. I just went to bed. I was like, it's been a really hard day. I'm just gonna rest. So this morning, around 4 a.m., I know that because I also recently got this band, like a fitness band, but also shows the the sleep cycles. So I know it was like around 4 a.m., 4:30, I think it was, which is interesting because they say, like, people say that's when the veil is thinner. Um, so yeah, I had a lot of dreams last night, and like I remember a couple of them, and I guess yeah, it was a very active night for me dreaming, and which is not unusual. That's normal for me, and most of my dreams are really weird or like not normal. Like it's never like this plain. Like I'm always, everything looks a little different always, but I'm used to that. And so I was, this was a particularly weird dream where the only way I have to explain this is like the dream was like I had, there was kind of like these postcards, but there were pictures that had kind of like videos in them, and like you could, like I knew that you could like go in them and like you would have an experience. So I choose one of them. There was this like cool rocks, like a cave, and so I go into one of those. All of a sudden, I'm in this cave, and there's like a friend of mine there, and I'm like, oh my god, hi, and like we hug, like we have like a nice long hug, and all of a sudden, I'm like lucid, like I wake up in a dream, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm dreaming. So I'm like, okay, calm down. Let's not get too excited. Like, let's do this. Let's try to do this. So there was this curtains like right in front of me, and so I get closer to it, and in one of the curtains there was this. The curtains had like decorations like made out of fabric, and so I noticed this eye is like one eye, kind of like the Illuminati symbol. I don't know. I've seen that symbol in like Egypt, and I don't know. Like the point is that I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this. And so I've never done this in a lucid dream before, where I was like, okay, fully focused. I saw Darius talking about this. Obviously, this is why I was doing this differently. So like okay, really focus on it. And I was like, once I know that I have brought a lot of my consciousness here, I'm gonna do the trick of like, so I already had a plan in the lucid dream. I was like, this is what's happening. And so I'm able to just bring a lot of myself in there. And then it was like, okay, now I'm gonna let go. And I just like did that. And I'm like in my body, in my bedroom. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in my body and I'm in sleep paralysis. And I am, but I'm not in like the beginning, what I would imagine the beginning of sleep paralysis is. I'm like, because I guess I was out of my body already. So I was out, and when I said I want to be out of my body, I got back in, but like I was already like getting, like I was already detached, I guess. But like I felt this kind of, I was all buzzing, like my whole body was buzzing with energy. It felt amazing, by the way. I was like, I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I am in my body, in my bedroom. I did it. And so I was like buzzing, 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 buzzing. And like I felt this kind of, almost like a scanner. It felt like that went down quickly. And like I felt it more when it was like down my feet. So I maybe I woke up when this was already happening. Like, woke up, like I was, yeah, I woke up, I was awake. So, and I really felt it, like the scanner going down my feet. And when it finished, like the end of my feet, I was like, pop, like I popped out, just like the movies, you know, just like if I'm laying down, I did like, and I was like standing right in front, like right in front of the bed with my bed behind me. So I was like, oh my God, like I did it. I was like, stay calm. But it was not hard to stay calm. It was like, it was so intense, the feeling. I was like, this is fucking real. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's get the fuck out. Because this is a recurring thing in my experience. It was like a little too much of like that, let's get the fuck out. But I was like, I didn't want to pop back in because that was one of my fears. It was like, I don't want to have a super short experience. I want to have a cool experience and long. And so I knew that I was behind me, and that was another fear. It was to look at myself because I didn't want to look dead. And like I had this feeling like I was going to look like a dead person. And so I just like, I was like this. I knew I was behind me. I did look. I was like, okay, check. So basically I saw me, I saw my cat, and I was like, let's get the fuck out. So I went out the door and I turned left, which is interesting because I've been picturing this moment in my mind, and like I always picture myself coming here to the living room where I am now. But I went back to the back bedroom, and I didn't even think about it. I mean, I did think about it. It was kind of like, it really felt like I've done this a million times. Like I knew exactly what to do, which is, I don't know, interesting. Okay, so I go to my office, and I go straight into the wall. Like you know, when you go into the pool, like that's exactly what I did. I was just like, whoop, and I pop out in the sky. I'm in the sky floating. And it wasn't like I went through the wall and up in the sky. No, like it was kind of like a portal, I guess, the wall. I don't know. But yeah, anyways, so I'm floating in the sky. And it feels amazing. I do fly a lot in dreams. Like I would say like 50% of my dreams I fly. And I'm somewhat lucid always in my dreams, but you know, it's been a struggle of mine, not being fully aware. So this felt so aware. I was so conscious, and I was so happy because it didn't feel hard, right? Like in dreams, it feels hard to keep that awareness and consciousness going. More for me, like it's always been a few seconds, and I pop out, or I wake up, or I go back into just dreaming unconsciously, I guess. But this didn't feel hard. This was like, this is happening. I am doing it. I was floating in the sky because I wasn't really flying. I was more like, and I was surrounded by thousands of balloons. I don't know. So it just makes me want to love myself even more, because I'm like, oh, because it feels very like subconscious, right? Like my own world. And it very much felt like that, right? Like this is so me. But I know it was not my paradise. And so, yeah, I want to make a side note there. My intention was to go to my paradise, and I don't know if this is how it works, but like my intention was to go to my own paradise, right? Which I've heard people going to. But the way I was saying it in my mind, like when I was commanding that to happen, I was saying I want to go to my own universe, which is not the same. Like, or maybe it is, but like, so my intention was one thing, but I was saying the wrong thing. And I guess my experience was more about like my own universe, because it does feel more like about my internal subconscious, right? Like the balloon thing was very surreal, like, but the experience felt incredibly real. Like I was there. And okay, so like I'm there with the balloons, and we're kind of floating, right? Like not really flat. Like I didn't have to do anything. Like this was effortless. I was kind of like floating but moving with the balloons. You know, we were all going at the same speed, and it was very lovely and fluffy. And And at one point I start noticing like the balloons, they weren't balloons where like carry people, they were just regular balloons, right? Like helium balloons. And so I'm like, huh, these balloons, they look man-made. um but it just got my attention. I was kind of disappointed about that. I was like, huh, they're man-made, and they were beautiful. They were like all different sizes. Some were like twice my size, some were like little, like they were just all around me, like thousands. Again, like I could not see the end of it. um and they all had like different designs, and like artistic designs, but it looked man-made. Like the material, when I looked closer, it was like helium balloons, right? Like the metallic, the typical metallic helium balloon. So I was like, huh, that's interesting. And so I started looking closer at one of them, and I was like, oh, there's even like words in it, which was also kind of disappointing. I was like, I kind of didn't want to see anything human. And so, but I started getting closer and closer, and like I was able to zoom in, like without having to go there. That was really interesting too. I heard that in NDEs a lot, although I didn't have 360 degrees view like people do have in NDEs. So I was able to get closer and closer, and when I got closer to it, it was, you know, AI images when it looks like there's copy in something, like, and then you look closer and it's just like scribbles. It's not really words, and so that's what it looked like. And I was like, oh. And then all of a sudden I'm in a city, and I'm like, oh, I hate cities, like in real life, not real life, in this construct, whatever. I I don't like being in the city. Oh, and the balloons look sort of Asian. I don't know if I said that already. I think I did. And this city felt Asian as well, which is interesting because I've never been. I had many, many, many dreams in cities, but never like this one. And that's when I started kind of like, and up to that point, I was very, very conscious. And then, like, I started to not lose the consciousness, but almost like life, in life, like, up to that point, I was able to be present all the time. But it started to feel more like, like, oh, I'm in a city, like, let's get the fuck out. Like, I was, again, like, I was like, I don't want to be here. Let's do something fun. Like, not this. I don't know what I need to learn about that, but anyways, so I'm looking for an exit, and I see this alley. So I turn right into the alley, and there's this sort of restaurant. So I was like, okay, let's look for a portal. When a restaurant is like getting ready for service, it was empty, but there was this server there, like kind of getting tables ready, and but I'm like, okay, where's the portal? I'm just like, let's get the fuck out. And so in front of the restaurant, there was this, like a screen, like a straw made, like a screen made out of straw. And that was sort of like a wall. So I was like, oh, wall, let's do it. And so it had like, it was not like nice. I don't know. It had nothing special, honestly. I don't know why I thought that would be, but anyway, so I did the same thing where I was like going fully in, and like, so I do that, and I pop out under a table in the same restaurant. So, and I'm like so embarrassed in the moment, because like I'm there and I'm like, and the server, he's kind of like, he stopped what he was doing and he looked at me kind of like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, sorry. And I just walked out, and I came back into my body and I woke up, and that was it. So yeah, I guess shame is what brought me back, because I was feeling I was feeling really ashamed, like, oh, this guy is like judging me, which I guess I wasn't expecting that either. And for that to happen, right, in this world. But I guess it was a world of my own creation, and that's something I struggle with. And like knowing that people are judging me, it's a big trigger for me because it triggers a lot of shame. And so yeah, I'm kind of disappointed at that, but like I had a very long experience, and very proud about that. I I it lasted like a good half an hour, I want to say. Yeah, I guess I guess it makes sense, me wanting to get out of that place brought me back to my body, right? So like I didn't want to be there. Um, so yeah, I guess I need to just try to understand better like what this is. I know it's probably like fear, um, but just overall, I can't believe this happened already. Like I'm still like, oh my god! Like it's been 3 weeks of just watching videos, and I made it happen. I'm super excited about that. And like I can go back to the feeling of like how it felt like being in my body and like popping out. I feel like that was one of the most amazing feelings. I think for next time, I do want to do what like a lot of the people do, which is like staying around the house, um, and like explore that a little more, like because like to be more in touch with my own soul, I guess, because the experience kind of got me out of that. I think that's why like the popping out of the body was kind of my favorite things of the experience because um, yeah, I think I want to be more in my soul body, without the physical body, uh, and explore what kind of things I can do with that. I think that's going to give me a lot more confidence for when I'm out exploring, right? Sort of thing. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you so much. And yeah, can't wait to share the next one.